Welcome back to G Suite Training. This is Google Sheets Basics video. In this video, you're going to learn how to customize your spreadsheet. You're going to learn how to adjust rows, columns, and cells. We're going to take a look on how to share a Google Sheet, and then we're going to look at the different versions and how to make copies of our Google Sheets. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get out of this video, and we're going to go to a new Google window. We're going to go to our Google Drive. We're going to click on New, and we're going to go to Sheets. Let me start by saying this video is just going to be a very basic tutorial on how to use Google Sheets, just to get some of the little minor pieces of functionality that is found in Google Sheets. So our first thing that we wanted to do is customize our spreadsheet and data. So this means that we can manipulate what it looks like a little bit. And to do that, the first thing that you could do is change your title. So I put test up here for my title. And now I'm going to start working with this data that I put into Google Sheets already. Say that I want to change the font or how big the font size is. You could easily do that by highlighting whatever we're working with here, and you could change the font size, whether it's bold or italicized, the color of the text, and the background fill color. Let's just change the background fill to like a light yellow. Alright, so we can change that. We could also change the boldness, so let's make it bold, and let's go over here to alignment and also put it in the center. So that is a simple way of customizing what your Google Sheet looks like. There are more ways that we could doctor this up that's more specific to Google Sheets rather than what we just did, which was specific to all G Suite products. So we can create a border that goes around our data. Once again, we have this highlighted by clicking in the cell in the top left that you want to use and dragging it down to the last cell that you want to use. And we're going to come up to border. Okay, and you could choose whatever type of border. I'm going to choose this one, and I am going to change this color to red, so I have a red border. Now I have a whole bunch of cells in here that are not being used right now, and say that I want to just make this one big cell, so I want to merge all these little cells into one cell. You could go up here to cell merger, and that's exactly what it's going to do. And that might be what you want to do if you want to just find a clever way to separate the data but also add a title. And you could just click in here whatever you want, and we could make this whatever size and whatever you need there by using some of these formatting options up here. Now one thing that is kind of like Excel in Google Sheets, meaning it is like Excel, is the functionality portion of this. Say that we want to figure out the sum of column A. So I'm going to just put sum down here, and this is where I want the sum to go. If we want to figure out the sum, all that you would do is hit the functions button and click on sum, and then you highlight all the cells that you want it to add up, and you hit enter, and that's going to give us our sum of 21 there. Now there are other functions in which we can do as well. If we want to do average, we could do average. Click in the cell in which you want it to put the average, go up to functions, hit average, highlight all the cells that you want to average out, hit enter, and now we have the average of column A as well. So these are some of the basic functions. You could come up here, we could do count, max, min, or you could go to even more advanced functions, and that's going to take you to a cheat sheet, and it's going to explain each one of those functions, and that will be in a different tutorial. So that is the end of the first objective. Our next one is to work with rows, columns, and cells. So the first thing that we have to do is kind of go over the nomenclature. Rows are anything with numbers over here, so 1 through infinity, and then our columns are the letters of the alphabet, and then our cells pertain to individual boxes within our sheet. So if I asked you where B12 is, you would go in the column B and row 12, and this would be our B12 cell. There are several ways to manipulate the length and width of a cell. The easiest way, if you want to make all your cells the same length and width, is to come up to this little box right here that is blank, and when you click on that, it highlights everything, all the cells. And the way that you manipulate the cell, the length of the cell, is you come up between any of the in-between areas between the two cells, and you'll see this arrow come, and you'll click on it and you'll drag it. So what that's going to do is make every single cell have the same length, and you do the same thing for height. So if we want to have larger cells, we can do that just by adjusting that. Now, you could also do that just for one column of cells by clicking on the A up at the top. We could do the same thing and move it over, and that's going to make A larger than all the other ones. Same thing with the height. If we wanted to make each even a little bit larger, we could do that as well. Sharing will be the same exact as other G Suite products such as Docs, Sheets, and Slides. You would go up to Share, and this is going to give you options of typing in people's email addresses to share it with them. And when you do that, you could give them the option of being able to edit it, comment on the sheet, or view it. If you give them the option to edit the sheet, you guys can actually work on this simultaneously. And what's really cool is you're going to see who's working on this the sheet, because their icon will pop up in the upper right hand corner. Another way of sharing this sheet is by getting a shareable link. So click on shareable link, and now you'll have a link for this sheet that you could put into an LMS or an email or something like that. Please note that there's also sharing settings for the link. Right now it's saying anyone in Hopewell Valley Regional School District can view this sheet. If you wanted to change that, you would hit the down arrow and you could change it to edit or comment. Now, we also have to pay attention to the advanced settings. So if a parent wants a copy of the sheet that you guys use to collect data, you can share it with them. Typically, with the setting that it's on right now, that parent will not be able to view this Google Sheet because it is set to stay contained within the Hopewell Valley Regional School District server. But if you want to share it with a parent, you can change that permission to anyone with the link can view it. And you're still keeping it private to the people that you want to see this Google Sheet, but now someone with an outside email address outside of the HVRSD email can view this Google Sheet. Once you're done, you would hit save. And done. Next is to take a look at the history and also how to make a copy of this sheet. So if this is a physics class and you're collecting data on this and you want to have students graph data from your class only and also data from every class, you might have to make copies of this this Google Sheet. So what you would do is you would come up to File and hit Make a Copy, and this will allow you to make a copy of the original data that you could share with other classes. So you just make a copy, change it to period 6 data, you could put whatever folder that you want and then hit OK, and you'll have a copy in your Google Drive. The other thing that I want you to take a look at, which is similar to what we did in Docs and Slides, is taking a look at the version history. So if you go in there, you will be able to see all the edits that were made and by whom they were made by. So I'm the only one that has access to this, and I have 2 different versions of this document and say I want to go to a previous version, I could just click on that and say that I really like this version better. I could hit restore, and what you can do is go back to the original version and go back to whatever you had prior to that you liked better. This concludes the video on Google Sheet Basics. If you have any questions, make sure you see a tech specialist and they can help you out.